Okay.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Sorry about the wait, guys. Testing 1 2 3. About ready to get started here.
Candy.
I think. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Vencabot. Python programming action. My name is David. Got my friend Undead Kaiju here learning with me. What's up, Kaiju?
Hey, what's going on?
That's twitch.tv/_ yeah, undead underscore Kaiju. Very cool guy. Very nice stream. It's a pleasure having you here, man. Finally, I think this is the first time on the stream, right?
This is my first time on the stream.
It's
yeah,
about fucking time.
A little nervous because I mean, you're one of well, between you and Arcadium, you guys are my favorite streamers and all that.
I
so
appreciate
being
that,
here
man.
is really cool to me.
I appreciate that. We're listening to the music of my friend albdat.bandcamp.com right now. You can go get his music for free right here on this website. It's kind of like an ambient, kind of a droning, resonant style. I find it's really good for programming and doing homework and stuff like that. It's totally free in FLAC and MP3 format. Go check it out if you guys want. He's a very nice guy. So Zan says, nah, he's a scrub. Can't even code in Python. Damn, Zanzu, the harshness. But by the end of this stream, he's going to be doing some programming. I think even more so than he was in his previous tutorial. Let's go download Python, though. So my friend Kaiju told me he already downloaded Python. I wasn't sure if he had or not, so I'm going to go download it myself here. We're going to go to python.org, go to downloads, get Python 3.7, get this installed real quick. Let's see here, blah, blah, blah. And here we go. Translations, data classes, whatever. Resources, Windows users, binaries, files. All right, let's see here. Can I get the Windows installer? Here we go. This is the one that I want. Embeddable zip file? No, I just want the, here we go, executable installer. That's what I want. Keep it simple. Well, as long as you feel free to follow along if you want. I know you're probably exhausted after a long week at work. But we're starting at the very, very beginning here. So I wasn't sure exactly where Kaiju was. Was that you say, dude?
Does Zanzu do programming too?
I don't think he does, no.
Oh.
But he could if he put his mind to it. Let's see, install launcher for all users, that's fine, yeah. Add it to the path? Yeah, let's actually add it to the path. That made my life a little bit easier. So the path means, like, basically when you run Python, you can actually navigate to the folder it's at and run Python that way, but instead we're going to run it right from the path, so we can just punch in py and run our program that way, which I'll walk you through here. So Kaiju, you mentioned that you did a tutorial already. You probably were running, like, the Python executable, like the interactive version, where you have, like, you punch in line by line.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm punching in each line individually.
Okay, so let's. We're gonna do it in the cmd.exe, the command prompt. It's a little bit easier.
I'm watching you do the install right now on the playback. That's pretty much exactly what I did. Installed the path to it and all that.
Excellent, good. Zan says I probably could, but I choose not to. I choose not to race. All right, let's see here. So now I can run a command prompt and make sure that we have Python. So I'm going to do a search on the start menu for CMD and run a command prompt there. I'm going to see if I can run py. Hey, I do. Okay, that works perfectly fine. Excellent. I'm going to, I think it's quit is the code for that. Excellent. Okay, so go ahead and follow along, Kaiju. Go ahead and get a command prompt opened up by doing a search on the start menu for CMD.
Sure.
Get a big black box of text there.
I got it there.
You should be starting in your users folder, right? So C users and then whatever your name is, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and make a directory for our Python code. I'm going to do mkdir, that's a make dir command, then space, and then like Python let's do like learning underscore Python. How about that? Learning underscore Python. Boom. Okay, so it should have just mkdir space learning underscore Python and enter.
Space learning Python.
Okay. Should just knock you down a line when you hit enter.
Yep.
And then I'm going to dir space learning Python. Then we're going to enter that, excuse me, I'm sorry, that's cd space learning underscore Python to enter that new folder we just made. So mkdir is make directory. So we just made a folder in our little home folder there. Then you should be in the learning Python folder.
Looks like I am, yep.
Excellent, sweet. Okay, let's open up Notepad then. So I'm going to go over here and open up Notepad. Where is it at here? I'm going to do a search for Notepad. Excellent. Let's make it a little bit smaller here so I'm not taking up the whole window.
Did you say sexcellent?
I did say sexcellent, yes.
I like that.
Okay, so let's actually move this folder. I'm going to actually shrink the command prompt a little bit so you guys can see both the Notepad and the command prompt around the same time. That should be all right. I'm actually going to shrink it down a little bit more. Zan says, it's a race, I would lose. That's a reference to Seinfeld, of course. I choose not to race. All right, so let's save this new Notepad document as, and we're going to navigate to our new folder we just made. So let's go to the C drive. Let's see, this PC, then local disk C. We're going to go to users. In my case, that'll be Venka. And then we're going to go to our new folder, learning underscore Python. I'm going to save this as not .txt, but rather like first underscore day dot py. So Python executables have the .py extension. That's .py. Boom, save it. There we go. So I got this first day dot py folder up here. This document here. Cool beans.
I'm sorry. What should I save it as, real quick? I'm sorry.
Like if I'm entering mine as first underscore day dot py instead of .txt, because it's going to be a Python file. You can name it whatever you want, really, but as long as it ends in .py.
Instead of .txt, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
So to make sure that we have everything all named correctly, we're gonna, on the very first line of the notepad, I'm gonna type in print. This is something Kaiju did yesterday. Print, and then a open parenthesis. Then I'm gonna do quotation marks and say like hello world, end quote, end parenthesis. Then we're gonna save this document. This is our first Python statement ever. This is pretty much the most traditional first statement in all of programming. It's hello world. Just gonna make sure we have everything saved in the correct locations. So we got print hello world. I'm gonna go to my command prompt window now. And on the command prompt, I'm going to type in py space. We're going to run Python. We're going to type in our file. So first underscore day dot py. So py space first underscore day dot py, and then see if everything's saved correctly. Hey, there we go. Got hello world. How about you, Kaiju?
Let's see if it pops up here. Hello world. Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so everything's all saved in the correct locations. We're all in the right spot. Thank you, Kaiju, for reminding me I need to lower some things down a little bit, so we can kind of have that prompt on top, not covering up everything.
Or did that not? Well, I might have some sort of. It says print hello world name error name print is not defined.
Name print is not defined. Okay. So probably because you put a space between print and the parenthesis, huh? It should be print.
No.
Okay.
Well, I capitalized print.
There you go. Yeah, put that in lowercase, please.
That's probably it right there.
Yeah, Python's case sensitive.
Yes, sir. I remember. Let me change that real quick here, and I'll try that one more time.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Excellent. If you guys following along, it's going to be a little bit difficult because this is basically Kaiju's first time ever doing any kind of programming. And he's kind of have to be watching the stream, so it's going to be like 30 seconds behind for him. So having to see my notepad here is going to be a little bit late for him sometimes. So it'd be kind of cool if we could like share a screen, but it's not really feasible today.
All right, so let me try this again. All right, so py,
yep.
First day dot py.
Yep.
Hello world. Yep.
Excellent.
Got it.
Excellent. Okay, so now we can go over some. I'm going to open a separate notepad document just for me to take notes in. You feel welcome to take notes as well if you like. But I'm going to open a separate notepad here so I can kind of type while I talk, get some bullet points here. So we're going to discuss basically, we're not going to do some hands-on stuff right away. We're going to be doing a little bit of lecturing. I know some guys don't learn really well that way, but that's kind of my way. So
I don't mind lectures at all.
We're going to just kind of, before we do some hands-on stuff, let's do some basic ideas about Python. So basically, Python is a programming language. And like a real language, it has syntax. Oh, I need to get word wrap turned on here. There we go. The primary syntactical ideas you need to know about any programming language are nouns. Actually, let's say that they're references, also called variables, which are like nouns. And you have functions, which are basically verbs. So references refer to data, and functions act on that data. So basically, as you're writing programs, all of their work's getting done is going to be in functions and operations, but you're going to be moving data around and changing data. You're going to be referring to things as by name or variable.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, Zanzi hears a little bit of double there. You can kind of hear my voice a little bit, but not right now. Yeah, it's kind of like an on and off thing.
Is that from me?
Yeah, it's from you, but it's like I said, it's not all the time. So I think it'll be reasonable. It's definitely easy to deal with. Okay, so we got.
I could adjust my mic a little bit more just that way. There. Hopefully that's better.
All right, so let's go back to our first day.py and let's make our first ever reference to some data. So we're going to say, our underscore number. We're going to make a reference called our number, then space, and then equals, and then space. And we're going to put some data in there, like the number 1. So we have our number equals 1. Sick.
All right.
And then we're going to do an operation below that. So we're going to say, well, let's make another reference assignment. So let's say, like, total equals our underscore number plus 2. And then we're going to put a function in here, the print function, which is, again, that's a verb. So we're going to print total. Okay, so we're going to save that. Go back to our command prompt, and then py space first day dot py, enter. There we go. We got 3 there. So what we did here is we made 2 assignments, and we ran a function. So we assigned the name our number to the data number 1. Then we assigned the name total to refer to our number plus 2. And then we ran a function. You always tell a function because that's parentheses. So you have print, which is our verb there, or our function. And then we have the argument. So an argument is like an object of a verb. It means that this is what that verb acts upon. So we're printing, and then what we're printing is the total. So it goes in there in the parentheses. So we printed off this number 3 here. Now, the reference can be any name. We can change our number to the number, or just number, or whatever we want. It's basically totally arbitrary. We can name it whatever we want. We can make it like a really long, really long name for a number. That's fine, as long as you still refer to this down here as really long name for a number. That'll still, this code will still work. So assignments, the way an assignment works in Python is you have, I'm going to go back to my notes here. So in Python, assignments always look like this. Variable name, space, equals, space, and then, whatever data is being referenced by that name. That's pretty simple. And likewise, functions or verbs always look like this. Function name, no space, parenthesis, and then function arguments right there, and then end parenthesis. That's what a function always looks like. So it has no space between the function name and the parenthesis. So that's how you know it's going to be a function. Now, an argument is the data that you feed into the function for it to do its job. In the case of the most popular learners first function, print, its argument is whatever you want to print onto the command prompt. Okay, so let's touch on a much more exciting function. But first, why don't we look at Python's list of functions? Now, Kaiju, this is not going to mean a whole lot to you right now because it's going to be a lot of jargon, but I think it's pretty important to look at it right away. So let's go back to our browser window here. We're going to navigate to docs, that's docs, .python.org. This is docs.python.org. We can learn all kinds of cool stuff about Python. And once we're there, we're going to go to the library reference. It's the third link down. It says, keep this under your pillow. As a programmer, I refer to this thing all the time. I always have this open when I'm programming. It's basically one big giant document containing all of the features built into Python. That way you can have this open while you work and kind of refer back to it and figure out what kind of cool stuff you can do. So once you're here, you can scroll down a little bit. You're going to find some links here. Introduction, built-in functions, built-in constants, built-in types, that kind of thing. We're going to go to built-in functions. Just click on that. Boom. And here we have all of Python's built-in functions. Abs, all, any, ASCII, bin, bool, breakpoint, byte array, bytes, callable, cur, class method, compile, complex, delete attribute. What we can do is we're going to go find print on this list. There it is right here. And click it. And it tells us basically how print works. So we get pushed all the way down the page to where print is at. It tells us here print, then it opens parentheses, then it gives us what the arguments could be. So we have different objects you can print off. Then we have some optional arguments as well, like separators, but we're not going to ever use these basically. It says print objects to the text stream file. Or in this case, a file default, as you can see up here, it says file equals sys.standardout. That's the command line printing off here. So by default, it prints it onto this page. separated by sep and followed by end. So we could actually take advantage of this in a second if we wanted to, but that's not right now. Okay, so it basically tells you how print works. All right now this means nothing to Kaiju because it's a bunch of jargon here, but over time he's going to figure out what all this means. Instead, let's go back to the top of the screen. We're going to look at the built-in function input. That's a really, really exciting function. So let's see here. Here it is, input. Okay, it only has one argument. It's very convenient. And because it's in those square brackets in the documentation up here, see how it says prompt? That means it's optional. If the prompt argument is present, it's written to standard output without a trailing new line. The function then reads a line from input, converts to a string. So a string is like a text. That's how we say text in programming. What's up, Comic Knot? Yeah, we're programming, dude. Yeah, no video juego right now. I'm actually going to be teaching my friend Kaiju to do some programming here. It's kind of like a little tutoring session. You're welcome to follow along if you want. Okay. And returns that. All right, so let's talk about returns in general in programming. So let's go back to our notes here. Okay. So we know that a function is a verb. It acts on data, which is fed to it as an argument. The function's argument goes between the parenthesis. I think it's that parentheses like that. There you go. Goes between the parentheses, and then the function works on that code and can do two things with it. Functions will always return data. In other words, you feed data into a function, and then it spits data back out. All right? Functions may also change what we call state. State is like the, it's the current, so let me scroll down here a little bit. Let me resize this window here. State is like, the current situation that your code is in right now. So you can change things like, color, you can move things around a screen. It doesn't always have to return data. It can actually just make something happen. That's what you do when you change state. So in print's case, it's the current situation of your program. In print's case, it changes state. It updates, std.out, which is the command prompt, the command prompt screen, with the new text. It doesn't need to return anything, but all functions return data back. So it returns the special data none. So Python's way of saying NA or not available or not important is the none. So what we can do is we can demonstrate this. I'm going to save this here as notes.txt. We're going to demonstrate Python's returning none by going back to our first a.py. And we have the same code before, we have the our number equals 1, total equals our number plus 2, and we have print total, right? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually assign what print returns. So we're going to say, print underscore return equals print total. So that way we're getting this data back from print, and we're assigning it to its own reference, to its own variable name. Okay. So now we have print return equals print total. So we're going to run this code now. And we're going to give the same exact result. So it's going to say 3. But now we have this print return reference, this name, that's referring to whatever returned, what print returned. Print always returns none. But it's kind of hard to show that for sure. That's what we got there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually write our own function. Our first ever function. This is a cool hand. We're learning Python. I know I'm talking really fast, but thankfully it can be all recorded here. So we're going to have something here for Kaiju and everybody to refer back to later on. So let's delete all of our code. First day is going to go away completely. Boom. Nothing left. Okay. So now we're going to write our own first function. Right? So Python has built-in functions. We're going to write our own function. So we're going to write, the way you define a function is by def and then space. That tells Python you're going to define a function. Then we're going to name it. We're going to call it, Kaiju's underscore function. Kaiju's function. We're going to put an open parenthesis, boom. And we're going to define what kind of arguments we want. We're going to say, first number, and then comma, and then second underscore number, close parentheses. So here's what our function looks like, right? We define it with def, then we space, then we name it. Right away we open up parentheses and we give it 2 arguments. So we have first number, comma, and then second number. We're going to put a colon after that, and then hit enter. So previously, Kaiju told me that all of his code has been straight down. It's been in the interactive prompt. It goes straight down the left-hand side of the screen. But now we're going to start indenting stuff. So when you indent things in Python, it always starts, almost always, with a colon on the previous line. So we have Kaiju's function, first number, second number, and then we have a colon. That means we're going to start doing our own little code block here. We're going to space 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Indent it by 4 spaces. So now we know that whenever you indent code in Python, it means that this code will only run under certain circumstances. So previously, all of our codes have always been run, right? It's been run in order as we go down the screen. But now they're indenting code. It means only in certain circumstances will this code run. In this case, that means only when we call Kaiju's function. So we have 4 spaces. Now we're going to say, total space equals first number plus second number. So now we know that in Kaiju's function we get fed 2 arguments, right? We get fed a first number and a second number. Now we're using those in the actual code. So we're using our arguments. Total space equals space, first number plus second number. Now we're going to go down the next line and do 4 more spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that we're still in that same code block. Then we're going to return space total. Okay? So now we have our completed function. So basically what our function does is it takes our arguments, the first number and the second number, it adds them up and stores them in a piece of data called total, and then it returns that piece of data, returns total. So we're going to demonstrate how this works now. So we're going to hit enter 2 times to go down a couple lines, get an extra space there, but underneath the code block. And now staying on the far left of the screen, because now we're back in the main, execution, we're going to say print, and then open parenthesis. So we're going to run the print function. But the argument is going to be Kaiju's function, and then another open parenthesis. Boom. We're nesting these now. We're going to feed it 2 arguments. We're going to feed it like 5, comma, and then 10. Okay? Boom. So here's what we have now, guys. We have Kaiju's function. We're feeding it 2 arguments, 5 and 10. So 5 becomes first number. As you can see, that's the spot it goes into. It fills that slot we made for it. And then 10 fills the second slot, that second number. And then whatever it's returning is going to be printed off by the print function. So this is kind of a relatively complex piece of code. It's only 4 lines, but still much more complex than anything Kaiju's written probably so far. Let's file and save.
Definitely is.
Then we're going to run this program, and hopefully it works. Boom. So I got 15. But again, it's kind of a lot of parentheses here. I'm not surprised if you kind of put a typo in there.
I think I got an error. Oh, you know what? I did an underscore between first number. Let me try that again.
Excellent. See if we can make this thing work. So Comic Knot says, I can read the web language, HTML5 and JavaScript, but this language is complicated for me. I agree with Cooland. Python is pretty simple compared to JavaScript. Exactly. Cool. The syntax change is kind of weird, but the concepts are very, very similar. And the syntax is also much simpler than JavaScript is. Man, it's pretty complicated to look at.
I got an error that says second number is not defined.
Okay, so go back to the very first line. It says def Kaiju's function. And make sure that you have first number, comma, and then second number. Then make sure that on the second line, second number is spelled the exact same way.
I got bad fingers, man.
Yeah. It happens all the time.
Also nervous, but... Let me try that one more time then, and 15. Got it.
Excellent. Perfect. So let's review what we've done here. So again, we defined our function. And we named it here. So we have def and then the name of the function that we wanted. We call it anything we wanted to. And then we define our arguments. So we decided to call them first number and second. We can call them whatever we want. We can change this to, first amazing number, second spectacular number. It doesn't really matter what we call them. And then as long as we keep the names uniform down in the code block itself. So we're using these things we got. We got first amazing number and then second spectacular number. Cool. And then we have the return total. So basically, we can now use this function as though it were data, because it's returning data. So basically, when you refer to this function now, so we actually go down here and we could say, our underscore total equals Kaiju's function, Then we could feed it, 7 and 8 or whatever. Boom. So basically, before we were only assigning raw data, right? We were saying, our data equals 7, or this data equals 8. But now we're saying our total equals the return of a function. So not only can you assign raw data, you can assign data that's been processed by a function. So that makes Python very, very powerful, because you can process things. You could have Kaiju's function refer to another function, just indefinite depth. You can run all kinds of processing on this data, spit it out however you want. So let's let's enjoy this code here. We have our first ever function, Kaiju's function. It does a little bit of addition and then returns the total to us. Then we printed out that total. Now that we know that functions return data, let's do something a little bit more exciting. So I'm going to do backspace through all this again. Boom. And we're going to use the built-in function input, which as we go back to our documentation here, we see that input, we could put a prompt in there, and then it returns whatever data gets fed to it. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that means. So we're going to go back to our firstday.py. We're going to say user underscore input equals, so as we named some kind of reference, user input. We're going to refer to input, which is a function, parenthesis. So we're going to run input. We're going to define a prompt here. We're going to say like, enter a number in quotation marks. Quotation marks in Python means we're making a string, which means we're kind of we're going to use some text there. So enter a number. We kind of close the quotation marks there. We close the parenthesis. And then we're going to print off something. We're going to print, user input space plus 5. We're going to close that parenthesis there. So we're kind of feed our argument. It's going to be the user input, then plus 5. So we're going to save this. 2 lines of code there, but it's going to be pretty interesting, I think. Let's go back to our code. We're going to run it. Py space firstday.py. We get a prompt there. It says enter a number. I suppose we might have an error here because it's going to be return a string. That's fine. So we're going to enter number 10. And we got an error there, a type error. So we can't convert a string to an integer. So basically what happened there, I forgot, was that the input only returns text. So I entered in, 10 at the prompt, but it treated that 10 as though it were text. It's saying like I typed in 10. It's not referring to it as an actual number. So let's go back to our documentation here. And I think we have a built-in function called int. See if I can find that here. Yes, int. That will convert any object to an integer intelligently. Okay, so let's actually go back here. So we're going to put in let's change the name of user input to user text, because we know they're entering text. Now the next line, so the second line of the code, is now going to be user integer equals int, the built-in function int, and the argument to be user text. So what this does, so int user text takes user text, that's its argument, and converts it to an integer, and then returns that integer. So now we have this user integer value that's referring to whatever conversion happened there from user text to user integer. So now we're going to actually change print from user input to user integer plus 5. I think this should actually work now. Let's go back to our command prompt and run py space firstday.py. Boom. Enter a number. Let's try 7. Boom. Hey, it worked for me.
Worked for me too. I got 12.
Excellent, excellent. So let's review what we did right there. So we took some input from the user by getting it stored in this user text reference, or a name or a variable. So user text equals, and then we get whatever was returned by input. So input is a function that asks the user for some data, and we can enter our own prompt in there if we want. In this case, we entered the prompt enter a number, and then we saved whatever was that input into this user text variable. Then we used that user text variable in as an argument for int. So int is a function in Python that converts data to integers, and we use that as the argument. We're saying, hey, listen, convert this to an integer, and then feed that data into this user integer reference. So now user integer refers to this integer they entered. Then we can print off that data, including some addition, and boom, now we've worked on their data. So that's basically the most complex program you're ever going to have to write in the abstract. It's 3 lines, sure, it's not that complex. But what we are doing is we're taking data from the user and then doing some work on it and then returning some information. So it's basically an entire program, which is pretty fucking sick. So that's real nice. So let's review what we've learned. So again, let's go back to our notes here. actually going to move this notes over here. Like, how about right around here? Okay. So, to review, we've stored data in assignments, or references, or variables, or names. These all refer to the same thing. So it's a bunch of different jargon that all mean the same thing: assignments, or references, or variables, or names. Using the assignment operator, which is the equals sign. When you use the equal sign in Python and pretty much most programming languages, it's the assignment operator says, hey, listen, take the code on the left and use it as a name for the data on the right. So again, we have user input space equals. We're saying, hey, listen, assign this input to this name, user text. And we've run functions which process data and then return data. And they can also do special tasks outside of just returning data, such as printing text to the screen or prompting the user for input. Right? So integer is a pretty basic function. Excuse me, int is a pretty basic function. It takes some data, then returns some data. It doesn't do anything else. Whereas input does some pretty crazy stuff. Right? It prompts user for data. Print does some crazy stuff. It actually prints data on the screen. But in most cases, I shouldn't say in most cases, but in many cases, functions only return data. Okay, and also we made a function. So today, we also created our own function using the def operator, which tells Python that we want to, define an entirely new function. When you define a function, the line starts with def and is then followed by the name of the function as well as a comma-separated list of argument names that you want to use in that function's code. Functions are defined in their own code block, which is indented by 4 spaces. Indented code is only run in certain circumstances. Unlike code, which is flush with the left-hand side of the text editor, that code is always run in order. Or always ran, I think, right? Always ran in order. Okay. What's up, Bullvise? Let's see. So Coolan says, type coercion. What we did, we could coerce some types around. Yeah, JavaScript automatically does it, which is really annoying, yeah. So Python's a little bit more overt about, the different types of data you're using. Speaking of which, let's look at some types, right? So let's go down here into our notes. So speaking of which, let's look at some different types of data. So we've already used 2 types of data, right? But I haven't made much ado about them. We've been looking at integers, which are numbers. We've been looking at strings, which I told you very briefly earlier. That's like textual data. So if we go back to docs.python.org, let's go back to docs.python.org, and then go to the library reference. Before we were in built-in functions, we also have built-in types, right? So built-in types, you can see we have some numeric types like int. We've already used int. We haven't used float or complex yet. We've got some text types like string, and a bunch of other types of data as well. But we're not going to even worry about that shit. It's more advanced than we need right now. But let's talk about integers and integers and strings. That guy Zan says, how are you doing, Kaiju? Any questions at all?
Oh, it's a lot to process so far. I'm kind of hanging in there with it. I have read up on like floats and stuff like that. How like a float, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a number that could also be a decimal with it as well. Correct?
Exactly, totally correct. Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff you're talking. I'm kind of going into an overload, but at the same time, I understand you're on a completely different level than I am, and I'm still learning. But I'm following along the best I can here. I'm definitely paying attention.
I guess. Well, maybe it's a good idea that we do something that's more practical so we can actually know what we want. But basically, I'm kind of giving you instructions, then you're kind of surprised by what happens at the end. Let's do something practical, huh? Why don't we create some code that will, why don't we create the code that will, I don't know, greet the user, enter their name, right? Then they'll receive a greeting in return. How about that? So we want to do, right? So we'll enter in David, and we'll get back hello David. Right. So let's do that next. So
I was blown away about the code that added 5 to it and it asked me for a number. I was like, whoa! I just did that.
That's funny. So we're going to use input again, though. So we're going to go back to the first line.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing that we want to do for this code, it's going to ask us for our name and then print off a greeting, is ask the user for their name, right? That makes sense. So we're going to get an assignment first. We're going to say, like, our name is going to be the name of our variable there. It's going to store the name we enter. Then space and equals, because we need an assignment. And then we're going to get some data from the user, right? It means the input function we used before. So input, and then bracket, excuse me, a parenthesis. We're going to enter some text. Now in Python, whenever you enter text, it's always going to have quotation marks around it. So we're going to put some quotation marks there. We're going to say, please enter your name, and then a colon there, and then boom, another quotation mark, and then we're going to close the function. So basically we have our one line of code. It's already pretty much our most important line of code, right? We're going to store this person's name as our name by using the returned value of input. So input's going to ask the user for their name. Once they hit the enter key, it's going to return that value back to our little variable there, our name. Okay, we're going to go down the line. Now all we got to do is print, and then, parenthesis. Then we're going to say quotation mark. We're going to enter another string here, another text string. Hello, comma, and then space, and then we're going to end the string. Okay, let's actually just put on the parentheses right there, right now. Boom. So it's going to cause like a little a bug, right? We're going to save this document, save this script, and run it. Pi, space firstday.py, and then enter. All right, we've got a prompt here. Please enter your name. I'm going to be David. You can be Kaiju, whoever you want to be. I'm going to hit enter.
That's what I did there.
And then all you get is hello, comma, right? That's all we printed off was hello, comma. Right? So, so we got this, something's wrong here, which is perfectly fine, right? So we're going to go back to our print statement. And before it closes, we're going to, instead, let's actually go to the first line and make a second line. So boom, now we have a line between our name equals and the print. We're going to make another variable here. We're going to say, total greeting equals. So we want for the greeting to start off with, a string, hello, comma, space, and then we're going to end the string. Then we're going to add a string. So we're going to do plus, just like with an integer. We were doing 7 plus 8 before, but we're going to do plus and then another string. We're going to say our underscore name. So we're going to add these two strings together, right? So our input got a string, which was our name, and now we have this total greeting, which is going to be hello, comma, space, and then we're going to add our name. Then we're going to print that off. We're going to go down the second line here. We're going to print the total greeting. So as you can see in print, we can enter what's called a literal, which is the raw data. I can just print in here. I could print in here, hello David. So we have what we call a string literal, which is, the actual string data. Hello David, that's all the text you want. Or you can enter a number there. You can enter in an integer literal, like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever you want. Or you can enter in a reference. So instead of entering, hello David, I'm going to enter in the reference total greeting. So yeah, it's not a string literal. You don't see the actual string there, but instead you see our reference to our string. So the reference is total greeting. We assigned that earlier. So we're going to save this now. And we're going to run the code, pi firstday.py. Enter the name again. I'm going to be David again. Hey, on my side it worked.
I have an error somewhere.
Okay, which error? What does it say?
Print our name. I didn't put the underscore in between the our name.
Gotcha.
So, first day. I got another invalid syntax, but it doesn't say what it is this time.
Well, it should tell you about where it is. So there's some numbers hanging out the end of it, right? That gives you I'll say file firstday.py. Then it'll give you a line number where the error occurred, right?
Oh, well, yeah, it's this whole thing where it points to name, our name.
Okay, so let's see here, a syntax error, huh? Well, let's see, what line is it on?
It's on the total greeting equals apostrophe hello comma space apostrophe space plus space our name.
Okay. Are you using the same kind of quotes on both sides?
Oh god damn! I didn't put a quote on the end. Oh no, I don't need to put a quote on the end of it, do I?
No, you don't, because yeah, it's already. Why don't you do me a favor and paste your code into the Twitch chat?
Sure.
I can have a look at it. Thankfully, it's short enough; it should all fit.
See, I've already messed this up.
Oh, dude, it happens all the time, man.
Oh wow, that looks. I don't know if that looks right.
That looks fine. Yeah, 'cause it doesn't break lines on Twitch. That's fine though. So please enter your name. Okay, total greeting equals hello plus our name. Print total greeting. Let's see, our name input. Okay, that's fine. Total greeting equals hello plus our name. Then we're gonna go down the line and print total greeting. Well, geez, that sure does look correct on my side. Let me see what the problem could possibly be here. Okay, input. Please enter your name.
I just tried to do it again and it worked.
Okay, maybe you just missed the enter key last time and just were looking at the time it failed the previous time. 'Cause remember you fixed it, then you were going to run it again. But good, that's great then.
It worked that time. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Zandu's right. Yeah, you might have forgot to save the file. Yeah, you got to make the change then save the file.
I could save it right now, but let me try it again then. All right. Yeah, it's working.
Good. Cool
All
beans.
right.
Whatever was the problem was thankfully resolved. But yeah, that is a good tip. Thank you for the tip, Zanzu. I would have forgotten to mention that. Yeah, it seems like Kaiju already has that figured out. But for you guys that might not have that figured out, when you're programming, changing the code doesn't actually change the code. You have to make sure you save the document as well. Otherwise, the changes are only in the temporary basis.
I should have known that.
Okay, so now we have this this code where we're using some strings. Again, we have the string literal here on input. Please enter your name. We have a string literal on total greeting, which is going to be hello. Then we have a reference, our name. So we're adding some strings together. Let's actually add another string on the end, another literal. So we're going to say hello, comma, plus our name. We're going to say plus, so even more plussing, a period at the end. Boom. So I have a string literal there. It's just quotation mark, period, quotation mark. So we're just going to enter one more string literal at the end. We're going to add it on there. Then we're going to run the code again. Boom. My name is David. Now we have a period at the end. So cool. So basically what we're doing here is we're doing some string addition. We have a string literal hello. Then we're adding in a reference to a string, which is our name. We got that in the first line. Then we're adding on another string literal, which is just a period at the end.
All good on my end.
Sweet. So here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to add in our first conditional code block. So we talked before about, I'm going to go to my notes here. We talked before about code blocks and how they only run under certain circumstances. When you define a function, it only runs when you call that function by name. So when we type in, input, please enter your name, we're calling input. We type in print, we're calling print. And we typed in Kaiju's function earlier, we were calling Kaiju's function. But now, we're going to look at a conditional code block. So this code block's it's not going to be a function, it's going to only run if certain things are true in our code. So I'm going to, instead of having a print greeting, we're going to actually put some lines here. I'm going to just enter a bunch of lines randomly between total greeting equals hello and print total greeting. So we're going to put print down by quite a few lines, just to separate it visually. The empty lines don't matter in Python. And we're going to make a code block. We're going to say if, right? Only if. So if space our name. So if our underscore name. So we're going to refer to this this string we entered in earlier. If our name space. And we're going to enter in two equal signs. Equals equals. So if our name space equals equals. We're going to enter a string literal. Kaiju. We're going to do a string literal, so that means we're going to put in quotation marks there. So we mentioned before that when we do a code block, you always start the line with, we precede it with a colon. So we're going to say, if our name equals Kaiju, colon, and then enter. Now we have our first line of our code block. So only run this following code if our name equals Kaiju. We're going to do some spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to print, hey Kaiju, boom. So if the name is Kaiju, and only if, we're going to print hey Kaiju. Okay, so now we can save this code. And if Kaiju gets his first try, I'll be very impressed because this is a little bit more involved. So whenever you have indentations, they're a little bit more involved. We're going to run this code. Hey, how are you doing, Jiffy Beefy? All right, so pi first day. Enter my name. I'm going to be David. So I just get hello David back. Because I just entered in David. I didn't enter in Kaiju, so.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try it right now here. So. Hey Kaiju, yep.
Hey,
it says,
nice.
Hey Kaiju, hello Kaiju.
Perfect, because as you see,
twice.
yeah, because the print on the bottom is flushed left. That'll always run, right? So the first code will only run conditionally, but the latter code will always run. So let's delete that last line then. We don't need to get greeted twice. Boom. There. So now we only have, it only say hello. It only say hey Kaiju if your name is Kaiju. But here's something else we can do. Let's go down a line from hey Kaiju, and then we're going to enter another code block. We're going to say, else, so ELSE. And then another colon, so that means we're going to have a code block here. Boom. We're going to say else, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Print, fuck off. There you go. So that way we have 2 conditional code blocks, right? We're going to say if our name equals Kaiju, then print hey Kaiju. Otherwise, we're saying print fuck off. So if you're not Kaiju, fuck off. So let's try this code now. I'm going to try it both ways. I'm going to make sure I saved here. File save, pi, firstday.py. Okay, so my name is going to be Kaiju. Okay, it says hey Kaiju. Nice. I'm going to rerun the code. Now my name's going to be David. Hey, it says fuck off. Nice.
So I got hey Kaiju, so let me run it here as I'll just put David. Yeah, yep, it works.
Sweet. So Jeff says, I'm about 2 minutes back on my phone because of network lag, so sorry for the lack of puns and promptness. I'm sorry, Kaiju. Like I said, I'm sorry, Beefy. You're 2 minutes behind on the phone, huh? I'm just happy to have you here. So Jeff's going to switch to PC now. I gotcha. In a few minutes. All right, so now we have our first conditional block of code. Some call it, it's called like a logical block. So basically the equals operator says our name equals. The reason why it's 2 equals is because we already used the equal sign earlier, right, as the assignment operator. We can't do both.
I was going to ask that. I could not figure it out. I was trying to see why am I using 2 equal signs? I couldn't figure that out, but I see now because we already do have an equals.
Right, the equals means it's a reference, it's an assignment. So we're assigning data to total greeting in this line right here. But equals means basically equal to. So if our name is equal to Kaiju, then do this. Else do that.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. So we have our first conditional block. I'm going to review. Anytime you have a code block, it's indented by 4 spaces. That means it's not going to always run. It only runs under certain conditions. And then it always starts, the previous line always has a colon at the end. So if our name equals Kaiju, colon, then we go down the line, 4 spaces, print hey Kaiju, else we print fuck off. So cool beans. So we have our first conditional block. We wrote a function earlier. Let's save this. I'm trying to think of something that we can do that's a cool piece of code to write, but it's not overly complex. I don't want to get into too much. Okay, well, here's what we can do. Here's what we'll do. Let's make a simple RPG. You like RPGs, right, Kaiju?
I love RPGs.
Let's fucking do it. Maybe we can do it in just a few lines. So let's delete all this code. It's real nice.
Right.
We're going to delete it anyway. Okay. So let's, right off the bat, let's assign some variables, right? RPGs are all numbers, right? Behind the scenes. So we're going to say, like, player attack power. It's a pretty long variable name, but it works. Player attack power equals, and let's say the player attack power is going to equal 3. Okay. And let's say, like, player underscore magic power equals, we'll make them a caster. They're going to have even more magic power. They're going to have 8 magic power. So they're going to be doing 8 damage with their spells and 3 with their attack. Okay, and we're going to say, let's go down a couple lines so we get some visual separation there. Let's say monster attack power equals 5. So we should also give the player some health, right? Let's go back up to line 3 in this case. Give them some health too. So we're going to have player health points equals, we'll give them, the monster's going to be doing 5 damage per attack, right? Let's give them, like, I don't know, like 20 hit points there. Okay. So the monster is going to have, let's see. So the player does 3 damage with an attack and 8 with magic. Huh? So let's go monster health points equals, how about, I don't know, we'll give him 22, let's keep it fair. Okay, so we're gonna have the monster attack the player every turn. He's not gonna have any magic. The player can choose between magic and physical attacks. Let's go down a couple lines here. We're gonna prompt. We're gonna say like, you know, we're gonna enter a new variable, user command equals. So we're gonna make a new name called user command. We're gonna reference something else here. We're gonna reference the input. So we're gonna input, and the prompt's gonna be like, how about like attack or magic question mark. That'll be our prompt. Okay. So now the user, so we know we have this user command variable now, and it's referencing the input the user sends us. So the user's going to send us either attack or magic. So we're going to make a code block here. If user command equals, attack. So if they enter in the word attack, we're going to put a colon there. All right, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 here. We're going to change the value of monster health points, right? So we're going to say monster health points equals, so we're changing this value now, is going to equal the previous value. So we're going to say, you know, it's going to monster health equals monster health points minus player attack power. That's a really long line. I should have thought of that and made the words a little bit shorter. That's fine. Got some long lines, no big deal. So what we're saying on this line is, if the user has entered in the word attack, the new monster health points is going to be equal to the old monster health points minus the player attack power. So we can imagine in our head, you know, it starts off at 20, right? Their health point starts off at 20. We're going to have this, the value change now from 20 to 20 minus 3. So now it's going to be 17 instead. Okay, so we're going to go down a line. Then we're going to say, that code only gets run if the user command's attack, right? So we're going to say if user command equals magic, all right, then a colon. We're going to do 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Monster health points equals monster health points minus player magic power. All right, so if they enter magic, we're not going to be subtracting their physical attack power, we're going to be subtracting their magic attack power. All right. Then we're going to go down a line, and we're going to say, we're going to end our code here with print monster health points for now. So we're going to end it for now. So basically, our code's going to do a real simple thing here. It's going to ask us what we want to attack or use magic, and then it's going to subtract our attack from the monster's health, then tell us how much health the monster has left. So a very, very simple code here. But let's see if it works. Again, it's like a lot of places there for typos, especially with our long-ass variable names. So the attack or magic, I'm going to enter in attack. Boom. Hey, so mine worked. I got 17. It has 17 health now.
I think I got an error here.
Okay, so what's the error for the people at home?
It says, if user command equals magic, that's right. Let's see here.
Okay, so that's where the typo probably is at. So do you have 2 equal signs?
I don't.
Okay.
Damn it. I don't.
This is the experience of programming, man. Thankfully, Python has some pretty good error messages. It kind of tells you what line the error is on. You can kind of figure out what's going wrong.
It still says under that one.
Did you save it?
Magic. I did save it, yeah.
Okay, so if user command...
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't put the underscore between user command.
Nice.
Damn,
okay,
man.
so that was the error that time. So it was the wrong variable name, basically.
Yeah, I'm messing up all over the place here.
Dude, if you watch my my Battleship streams, this is basically what I do all the time. There's just nothing but typos.
Okay. Attack or magic, so I'll try magic.
Okay.
12.
Hey, nice, it
that's
worked.
how
So it
much
subtracted
health
your
he has
attack power of 8 from the monster's health of 20. Sick.
left. All right, worked that time. My bad.
Sweet. So we're gonna I'm gonna demonstrate a bug here real quick. I'm gonna run the code again. It says attack or magic. I'm gonna enter in flee. Right, flee. Boom. It says 20, right? Because basically we don't have any code for handling flee. We only have code for handling attack or magic. Right? So it just prints off the monster's health. The monster didn't lose any health, right? Because he's still at full health. Up here goes. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to actually enter in, you know, I'm going to show you guys another bug, actually. So after if user command equals magic, after that code block, so after monster health points equals monster health points minus player magic power, we're going to enter in else. So else, we're going to say, you know, so else colon, then another code block 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to print off unrecognized command. So basically, we're going to say if they didn't enter in attack or magic, then print this unrecognized command. But I'm going to demonstrate, this is actually going to cause a bug. I'm going to demonstrate why in a second here. So what we want to happen here is if they enter attack or magic, then run that code. But if they enter anything else, then print unrecognized command. So I'm going to run this code now. Boom. I'm going to enter in, you know, what do I want to enter in there? Flee. I'm going to enter in flee again. Okay, because it worked, right? We got this unrecognized command, but the monster's health at the end. Right?
Unrecognized command 20.
Sweet, so it worked for you too. But here's where the bug's going to occur, right? So let's go back to run the code again. Let's enter in attack. So enter in attack, hit enter. Okay, so on my side it says unrecognized command, but this says 17, right?
No, it's mine says unrecognized command 20.
Unrecognized command 20 for attack. Okay, did you spell attack correctly in the actual program? And if user command equals attack, ATTACK?
Yep.
Okay. And then you have monster health points equals monster health points minus player attack power.
Player attack power, yeah.
Okay, do me a favor and copy paste the code over here into the chat again. I'll have a look at it. Okay, let's see. Player attack power equals 3. Okay, blah, 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 blah. If command equals attack, monster health points equals monster health points minus player attack power. If user command equals magic. Okay. Power, else print, or command. That's all perfect, man. Did you spell attack correctly as your prompt?
Looks like it, yeah. I could try. Let me try it one more time. So attack. Yeah, unrecognized command 20.
Okay. Well, then let's do what we call some debugging. So in programming, what happens is if you have too complex of code, it makes it kind of hard to find the bug. Let's delete the else statement. We're going to delete else and delete print unrecognized command and go right back to where we were before. Boom. Now all we have is if user command equals attack or if it equals magic. So no more unrecognized command nonsense. So let's see here. So now on my side, if I run the code, I'm going to enter in magic. Boom, and I get 12. That's what Kaiju gets too, right?
If I'd use magic?
Yes.
I get 12, yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go back and run the code again. Enter in attack. Now I'll bet you on your side, you probably get 20.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not recognizing. Let me look at your code again here. If user command equals attack. Oh, you misspelled monster health points on that line. Yeah, okay, that's why. 'Cause you have a new variable name. So you made a whole new variable called monster health points.
Wow.
That's why.
My bad. Oh, I'm such a noob.
Dude, it happens to everybody. It happens to me all the time, man. It doesn't matter how good you are at programming. Typos are going to happen. So basically what happens there is that the reason no error occurred was because you legally defined a new variable. Your new variable is called monster health points. So if we had printed off monster health points, it would have been 17. But we were printing off monster health points instead. That's why it didn't come up. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now we've got this nonsense. So we're going to re-add our line of code at the bottom there. So after if user command equals magic, we're going to enter an else colon new line 1, 2, 3, 4. This code only runs if this other code is not true. We're going to say print off unrecognized command. Okay. What's up, Evil and you? How you doing, man? Because this is why we use IDEs instead of Notepad. I use Vim, dude. Vim wouldn't have saved me there. But what Cool Hand means, Kaiju, is that in an actual, like your, what do you call it, Genie, something like that, or it would have warned you that that's a new variable you're making. So it would say, hey, listen, monitor is not a new not in use before. You're sure you want to use monitor? But yeah, but in this case, we're using Notepad, so there's no kind of fallback for that. That's cool. We figured out the problem anyway.
Well, no, it's good to learn that kind of thing because I'm able to go back and actually see what I did wrong at that point.
Okay, so let's run the code again. Boom. I'm going to enter in, flee. And now I've got, unrecognized command, then 20. So monster is still at full health.
Unrecognized command 20.
Okay, let's run the code again. And I'm going to enter in attack this time. Boom. I get unrecognized command in 17.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the bug, right? Because the bug is that's a recognized command. It's not an unrecognized command. We know what that is. It's attack. It worked. It took his health away. Right? So that's our problem there. So let's fix that problem. The reason we have this issue is that the else statement only attaches to the previous if statement. So as you see, we have if user command equals attack, then we remove the health. Then we say, if it's magic, do this. If it's not magic, then run unrecognized command. So we have to change this line so that it says, if the command is not attack or magic, run this, this statement, right? So
that's what I was going to ask, yeah.
Yeah, so there's two ways we can do that. Let's do it the obvious way first. We're going to say, delete where it says else, and then say if user underscore command space. We're going to put in an exclamation mark and equals right away, so right next to each other. So in Python, that means it does not equal. So exclamation mark always means not. So if not equal attack, we're going to say or, but a little bit more complex now. User command does not equal, so exclamation mark equals magic. All right, so now we have a new if statement, right? This new if statement's a little bit longer than the other ones. It says if user command does not equal attack or user command does not equal magic, then run this code. So we're saying, if the command is not attack or magic, then run this code. So now let's rerun our program here and see if we got some typos, as we often do. So mine's at least running, so it's attack or magic. I'm going to enter in, attack just to be sure it still works. Boom.
Okay.
So I got 17. I'm going to rerun it now with magic. Okay, I got 8. I got 12. Oh no, it still says unrecognized command.
Yeah, I got unrecognized command too.
Okay, well I didn't expect that. So let me see. That's my bad. So let's actually do some debugging here. What did I do wrong? Does not equal attack. Does not equal attack. Oh, I know what my problem is. Because or is it says here, if it does not equal attack or magic, or is in syntax, syntactically it means like they both have to be false. So, or either one has to be false. So because attack does not equal magic, I still get print unrecognized command. So I have to use a different kind of, instead of saying or, I have to say and, right? I'm sorry, we want and, not or. So if command does not equal attack and the command does not equal magic, then run print unrecognized command. Get a good rest, Evelyn. You're stopping by, dude. Get a good rest with your Finnish ass. So yeah, so I'm gonna go over here and do some notes real quick about that. So in this code, we've used our first, conditional conjunction, right? We previously, when running if-else blocks, we've only had one condition at a time. If user command is equal to, some string. Now we have one condition, one block where two conditions must be true, right? When both conditions must be true, you combine them with the AND operator. So in our case, we have, let's go back to our code here. Let's,
got the unrecognized command.
Okay, let's see here. So if command does not equal attack, and let me try my side, make sure it actually works. Okay. So I'm going to enter an attack. Okay, so mine works with attack. Mine works with magic. I'm going to put in flee. Okay, I got uncorrect command. So did you save the document?
I did save the document.
Okay, do me a favor and then paste it over into the chat again. Because we used our first ever compound conditional, so that's probably where the error is. They can get kind of complex if you don't know the syntax. Let's see here. So I'm going to go right to that line. All right. And does not equal magic. Print. If user command does not equal attack and it does not equal magic, that looks pretty right. Unrecognized command. Print monster health points.
We're trying to enter flee, right? To just get.
Yeah,
like,
flee.
Flee shouldn't say unrecognized command anymore, right?
For flee, it should, but for attack and magic, it shouldn't.
Okay, because it does say unrecognized. I'm sorry, I thought that we were getting rid of it saying. I thought we were making flee a recognized command. I'm sorry.
I gotcha. All right, so I think that we're all in the same place then.
We are.
Sweet. Okay, so now we can make this a little more RPG-esque. So what are we gonna do here? Why don't we? Well, first of all, let's go down to the very last statement, which says print, which says monster health points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we make it a little bit more overt? So we're going to delete monster health points, have it just print all by itself with no argument. We're going to fill in a new argument. The new argument's going to be a string literal, so we'll get quotation marks. Boom. We're going to say monster health, and then colon, and then a space. And then we're going to print off let's get a bug. Let's go monster health. We're going to hit space plus, and then we're going to enter in the monster's health, right? So monster underscore health underscore points. So as you guys can see on the stream here, I have a print statement with an argument, monster health. There's an add to that, the monster health points. Here's the bug. I'm going to tell you guys the bug in advance. The bug is that monster health points is an integer, right? It's a number. We're trying to add that to a string, and we can't do that, I'll bet you. So I'm going to try this code here and make sure I get a bug. Boom. So I'm going to attack. There you go. So we can't, concatenate's a fancy word that means add. So you can only add a string to a string, not an integer. So that's fine. So we're going to go back to our Python documentation. So before we converted a string to an integer with our adding function earlier tonight, we're going to go to the built-in functions in Python, here in docs.python.org library. We're going to go to the str function. So str, let's see, returns a string version of the object. Okay, so it basically turns any object into a string. So we're going to convert monster health. We're going to actually go back down here to the last line of our code. Instead of plus monster health, we're going to actually plus str, and then parenthesis, and then monster health points, and then another parenthesis. So we're going to change monster health points to a string. So now we should be able to add them together, because now we're adding a string to a string. This was a integer. We're returning a string version of it. Let's see if that works for me. There you go. So I got monster health 17 on my side when I attack.
I'm going to try right now.
Let's see. So there's a lot of new code there. Might get a typo.
I got monster health 12. I used magic.
Nice. Cool beans. All right, so now we have this player gets a turn, right? We're going to actually give the monster a turn now. Oh, so we have the... we have this first code block here. We have if user command equals attack. We have, do magic, whatever, if command is attack, whatever. That's all fine. So now we're going to go down after the print statement, and we're going to say, player health points equals monster attack power. Oh, I'm sorry. So if player health points equals player health points minus monster attack power. I'm sorry, I've been misspeaking here. So the entire line is player health points equals player health points minus monster attack power. So we're changing the value of player health points to what it used to be minus the monster's attack power.
I'm going to save that and run it.
Yeah, let's run it. But since there's no more printing, right? We only print one thing out, so nothing should change. But let's go ahead and run it anyway. Make sure we have no typos or anything. It'll give us an error if there's a typo. So I'm going to run an attack. Okay, so mine works. Still says monster health 17.
Same thing, yeah.
Okay, all right, good. So let's actually print the player health now. Let's go down to our new line. We're going to print, and then a string literal. So we're going to put no quotation marks there. Player health, colon, space. We're going to add in the string version of player health points. So basically the same line as the other line, but we're going to have everything that said monster be swapped with player. Okay. So I'm going to try mine here. I'm going to run an attack. Oh shit, yeah, so I took damage there. I took 5 damage.
I'm going to run it right now. Sorry, I was just finishing typing.
Yep. Let's see if I've got everything typing correctly. Again, typos happen all the time to any person of any skill level.
Yep, I got attacked also.
Sweet. Okay, so let's actually tell the player they got attacked, right? So basically, they have to infer they got attacked, right? Because they have this monster health thing. So here's what we're going to do. Go back to our line that says if user command equals attack. Remember that line up there? Mm-hmm. It says monster health points equals monster health points minus player attack power, right?
Yep.
Let's make a new line in that same code block. So I'm going to make a new line, then 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, so it's in the same code block. We're going to print, you attacked the monster with your sword. All right, that's the entire statement we're going to print off there. We're going to do the same thing in the magic one, make a new line in the magic code block, and indent that by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to print off, you hit the monster with a fireball. Okay. And then finally, before the last line, where you show the player's health, I'm going to make a new line between, right before the last line. We're going to print off, the monster bit you on the ass. Because he's into it, man. The monster's into it. There we go. So I added in basically some nice little data for the user so I get a more visual idea what's happening here. So basically, when you enter attack now, not only is the monster's health reduced by your attack power, you also get a message that gets printed off. You attack the monster with your sword. Likewise, you enter in magic, their health gets reduced by your magic attack power, but also we get a message. And finally, before the monster attacks, we get a message. So let's see if this works. We got no typos there. I'm going to enter an attack. Hey, okay, so I got what? You attack the monster with your sword, monster health 17, monster bit you on the ass, player health 15.
I used magic, hit the monster with a fireball, 12 health. The monster bit me on the ass, I got 15 left.
Sick, so no typos. Good. All right, so now we have one turn that happens, right? I'm going to lower the volume on this music. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Once again, we're enjoying the music of my friend Albdat. He's an ambient composer. Some of his music is more resonant than others, though. Because of that loud resonation, some songs can get kind of loud. Let's see if I can move this window here and then lower the volume like this. There we go. That'll do. Let's go back to my other PC. Do some more programming. So basically, our problem here is that in a real RPG, we have turns, right? We only have one turn. So it's a good time to talk about loops. Right, I'm going to go to my note here while I do a little bit of lecturing. So up to this point, all of our code, with the exception of functions, which can be defined anywhere, has run straight down from top to bottom in order. In real-life situations, such as an RPG, certain tasks get repeated. And so we need a way to loop over code instead of always following it straight down. That's what we're going to talk about now. All right, we're going to make our first ever code loop. So let's go back to right after we defined all the attributes, right? So we have player attack power, magic power, health points, monster attack, monster health points, and then we have user command, right? Before user command, let's start a loop. So we're going to make a new line there. We're going to type in while. So W-H-I-L-E space. We're going to run this loop as long as a certain statement is true. So while something is true, keep looping over all this code. In this case, we're going to enter the word true with a capital T. So while true and then colon. So true and false with capital letters in the front are actually types of data in Python. So before we talked about integers, which are little numbers. We talked about floats, which are decimal numbers. We talked about strings, which are some text. Now we have what we call booleans. So booleans are either true or false. And our conditionals always return a boolean. So we say, if user command equals attack, that's actually a operation that returns some data. So if user command equals attack, that will return a boolean. So that'll return true or false. And then if processes that boolean. In this case, we're entering the boolean directly. We're saying while true. So there's no conditional there, just while true. So always. While true is true, run this command. Then we're going to, all of our previous code blocks now, we're going to indent all the other code following that. So we're going to go to all of our previous lines and do 1, 2, 3, 4, indent that shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Everything has to go in by 4 underneath that,
Exactly.
Right?
And the ones that were already in by 4 now go in by 8. So you're adding 4 more to everything. Okay. So because we indented all that stuff, now you could say that all this code is within that while code block. Right? Everything that's indented is within that while code block.
Okay.
Okay. And now we have our first ever nested code blocks, right? So, for instance, our if statements, right? Yeah, the if statements have their own code in them, but they're also within the while. So now we have like some nested blocks. So now like the monster health points equals monster health points things, that's actually within a block, right? That's kind of interesting. So we have nested blocks now. But yeah, we have all this stuff now in the while block. So while it's true, this code will just run forever. So let's actually see if we got any typos. Run the code and see what happens. All right, pi first day dot pi. Okay, attacker magic. I'm gonna enter in attack. Hey, look, mine worked.
Mine worked too.
Oh, yeah, prompted again, right?
I got a bit on the ass, but I can use attack or magic again.
Sick. Let's do it again then. I'm gonna enter in magic this time.
I'll do attack. Monster health 9, bit on the ass again.
Sick. Okay, so basically what happened here is that now this code will run forever as long as this statement is true. It just loops over and over again, which is
And
great.
that will continue to go into negatives. And
Exactly.
stuff,
That's the problem, right? Because it's going to go into negative at some point. Let's go ahead and I'm going to enter in, magic again, then magic again, then magic again. So now the monster's at negative 15, I'm at negative 5. That's a problem, right?
Yep.
So instead, why don't we go up to our while true, and we'll say, while monster health points, is greater than, so that's a greater than symbol, 0. Keep running the code. So in this case, I have while monster health points space greater than space 0. We keep running. So this code's gonna run forever. So on Windows, to kill this program, you have to hit in the command prompt window. You hit Control and then pause. Boom. That should kill the program. Let me know if you got that figured out.
No, I did not know that. Oh, I'm sorry. Run that by me again?
Yeah, go back to the command prompt, because there's no way to get out of that program now. It's going to run forever. So Go to that window, the command prompt, and hit Control and then the pause button, the pause key. It's kind of a hard to find key. Not used very often.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're telling me. Oh, there it is. Control pause?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it brought me back to learning Python.
Sick, that's what we wanted. Okay, we killed the program that way. We got out of that infinite loop. Okay, so now we have new code. I'm going to save this new code. So
we no longer need the word true at the end of that, right?
Exactly. You go and get rid of the word true. Because now we're replacing the word true with the code that means true. Right? Before we had the literal true. Now we're replacing it with some code that evaluates to being true or false.
Makes sense.
So monster health points greater than 0 is going to return either true or false. As long as it keeps returning true every time, then we're going to keep on going. Once it returns false, we're going to stop. That's what while means.
All right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and run the program again. Okay. So right away, before we even get started here, you can tell it's going to be a bug, right? Look at the code. We know that the code ends if the monster gets down below 0 health. But if we get to 0, nothing happens. So that's a bug we're going to have to deal with in a second here. Basically, if we kill the monster, the game ends. If he kills us, nothing happens. But yeah, let's go ahead and fight this guy then. I'm going to use magic. Make sure I kill him first, because I do a lot more attack power with my magic. I'm a caster, I guess. All right, so magic, and I kill him. It should end the code, right? Yep. There you go. Okay, so we got out of the game now. His health got down to -4. Sick. So now let's we want to get like a win and a lose state, right? We want to win and a lose state. So we have while the monster health points is above 0, keep running this code, right? Why don't we also, on that first while line, let's also end the code, let's end the game if the player's health gets below 0. So we're going to say while monster health points is greater than 0,
and or.
I don't know, let me think here. I've been programming for 10 years, I'm still trying to really think about this logic here. So if the monster's above 0 health, and the player health points are also greater than 0. So only run this code if both the player and the monster are above 0 health. All right, so basically now we're going to run this loop until the monster or the player is below 0 health. If one of those is below 0, we're going to end it. So and means they both have to be true. Or means only one has to be true. So in this case, we want both to be true. They have to both be above 0 health to keep running the code. Okay, cool. And now we're going to go down to a new final line. So we're going to actually go to the bottom of our code, add a new line. And then we're going to have flush with the left-hand side. So it means outside of the while loop. Outside of this loop, we're going to enter in if monster health points are greater than 0. Okay, then a colon. Then we're going to make a new code block, 4 spaces in. Print, you lose. Okay. Then we're going to say, a new code block. If player health points is greater than 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Print, you win. Okay. So before you even run this code, let's just look at it and think about what it does. So we have this while block, right? This while block ended by 4 spaces. All this stuff happens in this loop. And this while block will keep on running over and over again until its condition becomes false. So it only becomes false if the monster health or the player health below 0. Because it's going to be true as long as they're both above 0. Because keep on running this while the monster health points are greater than 0 and the player's health is above 0. So once either of those becomes false, it stops. And then once it stops, we can finally move on to the code below it, right? Because that code's outside of the while loop. So once the indented code is finally done, we can carry on with the far left code. In this case, it says if the monster health points are below 0, then you lose. Wait, I'm sorry. I got it reversed. I got those reversed. If the monster health points below 0, I got to fix that. No, I'm sorry. It's above 0, right? If monster health points are above 0,
I wonder.
yeah, if they're above 0, then you lose. If the player health points are above 0, then you win at the end. So because this while loop finally ended, we know that one of those is true, right? Because if one of those wasn't true, it would keep going forever. So we know one of those is true. Which one is it? Print you win or you lose. Let's go ahead and try this code now. See if we have any typos or anything. All right, so let's see. Attacker magic from me. So that means at least everything's typed correctly. Let's do, magic. Okay, so I still get prompted again. Magic. Okay, and then magic. Hey, I won. Okay. So how about you? You got everything typed out correctly?
I did, but I lost.
Okay, so you actually lost first, right? Or was that a bug?
Well, I was using magic every time, but it says the monster didn't die. It's got -4.
Okay. Well, here's the problem. So let's go back to the final lines of code. And it says if monster health points, and then you have, which way is the bracket pointing, right or left?
To the right.
Okay, so if monster health points is greater than 0, print you lose. So...
I printed you win.
Okay, yeah, because if the monster health points are greater than 0, that means he's still alive, right? So if the monster's still alive, then you would lose.
Makes sense.
Then the next line is the player health points are greater than 0, so you're still alive. That means you win.
So it should have been... I get it. It would have worked either way.
Yeah, you could also... it would have worked either way. Okay, so... Cool. So we have a fully working, really, really basic RPG here. But not too shabby. So basically, we have these numbers that are constantly being changed, and we have a loop that keeps looping until a certain thing becomes false, right? So it keeps on looping until this statement, one of these two becomes false. Not too shabby. So let's go through here, and I'm going to clean up my code a little bit, just make it look a little bit nicer. So we have player attack power. So on the top we have players. We have a blank space on my side. The blank space is totally unimportant to Python. It's just for visual aesthetics for the programmer. So I put a blank space between that and the monster's stats. Then we have a blank space, and we have this while loop. I'm gonna actually get rid of this blank space after user command. Okay, so we have this user command attack. All right, print messages, print messages. Okay, I'm gonna print off some new lines. First, I'm gonna actually put a space after attack or magic before the end quote. That way, the prompt has a little space after the question mark. That'll make it look a little bit nice. I'm actually gonna capitalize attack as well. Make a little sentence there. All right, and then I'm going to print a new line. So here's what I'm going to do. After they do their, so it's a user command equals input attacker magic. I'm going to make a new line here. I'm going to do space, 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 print with no argument. So just empty quotation marks. What that means is just print a new line. So print an empty line. Okay, so after the attacker magic, we get a blank line now. Then I'm going to say the same thing after monster health points. So it says print monster health, in the colon, and then the little string. I'm going to print a blank line. So just print and then no argument.
All right.
And then same thing after print the player health. We're going to go and print a blank line. Okay, that should look a little bit nicer. I'm going to run this code, make sure that I didn't make any typos here. Attack or magic, I'm going to attack. There we go. So I got some blank lines, makes it a little bit easier to read.
I'm going to try it on my end, see how it looks. Oh, yeah, that looks way better.
Okay, I'm gonna try and lose this time by just attacking. Attack, attack, attack. Boom, I lost. Okay, must be in the last player health 0. I'm fucking dead.
Yep.
Cool beans. Well, Kaiju, I know there was a lot, but we also accomplished a lot too, right? That's pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing that you had me write that and that actually works.
Yeah, it's like a little fucking game. We can go into the code too and change the stats. Maybe I should give myself 100 fucking health, right? Then I couldn't lose. That'd be sick.
And just it's a lot to comprehend, but it's a small amount, and I understand what little we've worked with so far. I mean, of course, I'm going to be reviewing it and just to get familiar with it, but I'm capable of digesting this amount that you've shown me so far.
Yeah, it's kind of, how many lines is this? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we got about 30 lines here. That's pretty complex for a first program. But again, it's a lot cooler than a lot of fucking Hello World stuff you would do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A lot of the stuff they had me doing, print shopping this for whatever. Yeah, they had me doing on the Code Academy website. This is way more interesting.
Not too shabby. Okay, before we call it a night here, move on to some Fortnite on this channel. Why don't we go through this code and you can tell me what each line of code does? So we have about 30 lines here. Let's walk our way through it.
You want me to do it individually?
Yeah, here we go. So the first line is what? Player attack power goes through. That does what? That's an assignment, right?
That's an assignment. Yeah, it'd be an assignment, and that we're using that to represent physical attack, I guess, against the monster.
Okay.
Player matter is also an assignment. Same thing with player health points.
Okay.
And monster attack power and monster health points.
Okay, now we get a little more complex down here. Here we go.
Yeah, these ones I'm not going to know what these are called off the top of my head.
That's fine. We don't need to know the jargon, just kind of get an idea of what it does.
While monster health points is greater than 0, this is going to keep the program open, like this code and the code beneath it in a loop.
Right.
User command, it's asking for an input from the user.
Right. Perfect.
And that input's either going to be attack or magic. We got the print, which is just going to clean up the code, just make it space it out so it looks better.
Nice.
If user command equals attack, meaning it could only we're only referencing attack.
Right. So only run the indented code if that's true, right?
Right. We're only running that. We're only going to be running the player attack code.
Okay, gotcha.
If that makes I'm not good at explaining this. Yeah. We'll have the monster's health equals to monster health points minus the player's attack power, which we have the assignment says 20 for the monster health and 3 for the attack power. Then it will print a line of code that says you attack the monster with the sword. And if you same thing with if you user command equals magic, we're doing the same exact thing except we're using the assignment of magic power.
Right.
And it says the next line is print. You hit the monster with the fireball. If user command is not equal to attack or not equal to magic, meaning, if we don't type either one of those, if it's an unrecognized command, it could be anything.
Right.
It doesn't really have to be flee. It could be if it doesn't recognize attack or flee, it's just going to tell us that's an unrecognized command.
Exactly, yeah.
And it'll still print the monster's health points. Let's see here. Player health points equals to... Sorry, I'm not sure how to describe this part here. It runs this code after we attack the monster. It's basically the monster's turn, although it's all happening on the same turn.
Right.
It's printing out the line of code for the monster attacking us. So it's our health points are going to go down by the assignment of the monster attack power equals to 5.
Right, exactly. So basically, after we take our turn, the monster always attacks us with a physical attack, so we lose health.
Correct.
Right, exactly.
And then it prints the monster bit us on the ass, and then our health goes down by printing the and it shows player health. That player health. That's print that will actually pop up on the screen there, and
right.
it'll show player health points. And the line beneath that is just spaces it out, makes it look nicer again. And then if the monster's health point is greater than 0, or if the player health point is greater than 0, you win, you lose. That's ending the program altogether.
Sweet. Yes, you understand it really, really well. So being your first day, that's a lot of data taken at once.
Sorry, I'm not good at describing things.
Well, yeah. So over time, we're going to learn the jargon. So you have to learn what word means what and what they all, what they all do and stuff. But
like I said, I'm capable of understanding this. Like I can study this and I can learn this.
Yeah. So even if just a few more minutes of study, look at the code. You can change things around like the stats and stuff, or add your own messages, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, I want to touch on 2 things here. I just realized while you're talking, I realized one bug we have we can fix before I end the stream here. But first of all, we have this the player health :space. We have plus player health points. The thing about this I want to kind of repeat is that you can't just add the player health points because it's an integer. You can't add a string to an integer. Thankfully, we convert it to a string. So str, that function there, that converts that to a string, so we can add them together. That's basically a pretty cool little bit of code there. But here's our bug. Our bug is that if they enter in flee or any other command, it prints bad command, unrecognized command. But then the code below it still runs. So the monster will still bite you on the ass. So if you type in like pizza, you still get bit.
Still get bit on the ass.
Right. So we can fix that code right here actually. So in the right below print unrecognized command, we're gonna make a new line. Boom. Then we're gonna put that in the same code block as the if. So we're gonna go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So we're kind of lined up with print unrecognized command, right? Mm-hmm. Then we're gonna enter in the special Python command continue. And that's the entire line. Just continue. So basically, what we're telling the code right now, continue only works within a while loop. Or a for loop, we're going to learn that later, but only inside of a loop. And what that means is that ignore all the code below continue and just restart the loop. Just restart the loop.
That's not going to let us continue until we either type attack or command or whatever attack or magic, whatever we decide to use.
Exactly. So that way the code below it, the print monster health and then all that good stuff, is not going to ever happen until they type in attack or magic.
Right.
So let's save this one and run it one more time before we call it a night here and make sure this works now. So I'm going to enter in attack for my first command. I'm going to enter in, fucking pizza, right? There you go. So now I got a prompt again for the attacker magic.
Same thing, yep.
Sweet. And then we can enter in magic and then it'll work. I can enter in fuck and then it won't work. Okay, all right, good. I gave myself 100 health. Forgot about that. I can't lose. That's godlike. Get fucked, you fucking monster piece of shit. Yo, good games, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. This is a lot of fun.
Dude, that was amazing. Thank you so much for showing me that, dude. That helps out big time.
Yeah, can you imagine fucking 30 lines of code? We got a fucking RPG going, man.
I know.
We gotta add in next time. We gotta add in EXP points. Maybe next time we can level our guy up and make him stronger. That'd be sick.
I'd be into that whenever you want to. I mean, I don't take away from your Battleship programming stream, but I mean, like, if there's ever something that you want to, if you want to pick this up again anytime, I'm more than willing to.
That's sick. I'm really looking forward to that then. Yeah, good games, man. I'm going to call it night here. Guys, as usual, if you enjoy hanging out, I'm going to keep the channel on. Check my Patreon page at patreon.com/Vencabot. Even $1 is a huge help. You can also follow on Twitch for free. Tell your friends we're here. Get in the chat, come say hi, and save clips. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/Vencabot Archive. I have all of my past streams archived there, including some more programming, like Battleship's first streams are on there now. A lot of cool stuff. I'm looking forward to doing this again with Kaiju. Speaking of which, Kaiju, tell us about your stream, dude. You stream what nights and what do you play?
I stream every Wednesday through Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific time to about 11:30, 12 p.m. Or I'm sorry, 12 a.m. Tonight, every Friday night's Downright Fierce, which is where we do Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and various other Street Fighter fighting games. We'll actually be doing it tonight. Tonight's kind of a special event because our friend, I don't know if are you familiar with Toshin at all?
Yeah, Toshin is a really cool guy. He taught me about the Third Strike Bible.
Yeah, he had a little incident where he's from Canada and he flew down to Evo, and he had just had eye surgery recently, and he had some sort of complications with it while he was here in America. And he had, his whole Evo experience was basically ruined. So we're doing a fundraiser event for him tonight where we're trying to raise some extra money to buy him a Neo Geo Mini, something he's had his eye on. But I just, besides that, I variety stream. I do everything and anything. Binding of Isaac's a big thing.
Yes, Binding of Isaac all the time. Super Turbo, lots of ST, like you said. Other retro fighting games here and there. Yeah, very, very cool stream. Guys, go check out twitch.tv/undead_kaiju. My favorite stream on Twitch. It's fucking godlike. Got great UI, great hosting, also great games. I love channels that play like classic games and really strong games. It's always a pleasure. You're playing Resident Evil, like you said. There's just a lot of great content over there.
Yes, actually, I'm in the middle of doing Resident Evil 2. I just got an A rank with Leon, so I got to do that with Claire next, and we'll have the access to the Hunt campaign, which is something I plan on doing a couple of times on stream, and just doing all sorts of old school stuff. I love doing old school games.
They're always the best, man, because they're proven classics. They're proven classics, right? I mean, there are a lot of great modern games too, but you don't know that yet. Yo, they were the bits, Kaiju, man. That's a lot of fucking bits.
Dude, absolutely. I appreciate what you did, man.
And we should come back and do it next Friday, hopefully. Again, Battleship is a thing, right? But I mean, programming and learning is so much more fun.
I'm into it. I got to see if I have it off next Friday because I usually I'm working during these hours. If I have it off more, I'll absolutely be here.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, I will see you around, homeboy. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, you too, dude. Later.
Man, pleasure having Kaiju on the stream. Finally, thank you for the follow, man. That would be, let's see here. Denmark can rap. Can you really rap, dude? Is that true? Are you a filthy liar? Again, good games, Kaiju. We had a lot of fun there learning our first day programming. Got a little RPG running. Again, kind of complex. We learned a lot about assignments and functions and code blocks, including if statements, if, else, and while loops. But yeah, I'm going to move on to some Fortnite now. Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. It was a pleasure having you, Kaiju, man. That was really, really fun. I haven't tutored programming in a long time. I know I talk pretty fast, but like you said, if you can go back over the notes, look over the code, change things around, I think you'll kind of figure out how it works. Just keep in mind that the indented code means it only runs within certain conditions, right? So we indented the while loop. That way we could have it only run while that's true. We indented the if and else stuff, and you indented function definitions as well. Because they only run if certain things, and things on the left always run. Go to get my water refilled, guys. Come right back from Fortnite Battle Royale. Kids try lower half anyways. Yeah, stream like, oh god, this boss is so hard. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. Think about it, you're not even fighting a boss. Oh, it's so hard. Can't breathe. Charge moves, rage meter, quick swap. Yeah, something. Something. It's What was that? What was that? It auto-corrected, but it was already coming out though. I went one way and auto-corrected the other way. That was weird. Big. Probably one of the coolest characters in Street Fighter history, I feel like. I'm glad he was in 4. I wish he was in 5. But they probably couldn't put him in 5. I think 5 is too many big guys now, right? Wow! Was that a fucking reaction? That was sick.
I'm gonna eat you. Come here.
Hugo's the best. Hugo is sick. I feel like maybe he wouldn't work in 5 because they already have so many giant characters.
Don't do it.